Hey, Dave Meyer.
Hey,
Welcome.
Lisa. How are you doing today?
Great. Good to see you.
It's good to see you again. We don't see each other very often.
No, we don't. We don't. Every once in a blue. But
Yeah.
that's a great segue into our topic for today. And we're going to talk a little bit about, and it's a hot topic right now in training and coach training, teaching by telephone versus teaching by video or Zoom. We hear a lot of questions about this in the enrollment process as people are looking at coach training and visiting CTA. So I just wanted to ask you a little bit about your feelings about teaching by phone and why we do that here in CTA.
Yeah. Well, we've been teaching by phone for a long time now. And of course, technology changes and Zoom is all the rage these name and Zoom-like products. But if you think about a Zoom call with, 10 students and an instructor, 12 students and an instructor, that gets pretty busy on the screen and people doing different things and different kinds of distractions that you don't face on an audio call where someone's speaking and others are listening. You can chime in if it's appropriate.
Yeah, and we talk about it in the Becoming a Coach class because this question always comes up. Why do you teach by telephone? There are all this technology out there, but when we learn to coach and we talk about it, the number one thing we do as coaches is we listen. We listen deeply. We're always listening on multiple levels to what our clients say and what they don't say, and their energy and their tone, and listening with video becomes very different. There's a lot of distractions, as you said, lots of distractions that really prevent us from hearing more fully and really experiencing what our clients are saying. So the training and teaching by phone really helps us to hone that intuition, to really go down deep. A lot of times, and I've heard you say this, a lot of times you coach with your eyes closed because by closing your eyes, you can listen so much more deeply.
Yeah, I mean, I physically coach in my recliner with my eyes closed. So we're on a Zoom call. That not really something the client wants to see. But more importantly, the reason I do that is to be fully present with the client and not distracted by things around them, something that they're wearing, something in the background behind them. Instead, I give my entire focus to the client and I can really hone my listening skills to hear beyond the words to the emotions that are being expressed or in some cases not expressed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about this a lot in terms of being coached. Um, I find that students are a lot less self-conscious when they're coaching or even being coached in the certified coach program when they're not being watched. I found that in my own experience being coached. I find that, I go a lot deeper, I get more real, so I go deeper sooner without being watched. There's no I'm not self-conscious. And I think
Yeah.
that's very true in the coach sessions too. Do you find that in your classes?
It's true in coach to coach because there are the distractions of others around, but it's also true, of course, in your one-on-one coaching sessions. People come with very personal type issues,
Mm,
and they can get rather emotional. And
yeah.
on a screen, when they know they're being viewed, they try and hide that from us, and that doesn't happen so much when we listen, because we can listen for the audio clues that there's emotion going on without embarrassing the client by having them us watching them as they get emotional.
Right. And I was thinking about it recently. The coach sessions in class. I mean, when you and I went through the training, it was 2002, 2003. There was no video, so that wasn't even an option at the time. But I think about the students now doing a coach the coach session, and I remember back to my first coach the coach session where I was the coach and I was really nervous, and I was thinking, what am I going to ask? Am I going to be listening well? And everybody's here on the call, and I think of how nervous I was just in that position many years ago, and I think, what would it be like today if you had 10 little Hollywood squares looking at you while you're trying to coach for the first time? That would be maddening.
It would be a distraction from you trying to learn new techniques, and suddenly there's all these people watching you, and it's bad enough when they're listening to you, and you kind of forget about that. If you can see them up there, maybe you see some of their reactions to what you're saying. That's something that's going to make you distracted from learning the coaching techniques.
Right. And I think it's distracting when we have a little Hollywood square of ourselves, you can see yourself and we don't watch ourselves as we talk. So it's a little bit different. I think that can derail us as well.
The visual part sounds great, but it can really distract you from the things you're supposed to be doing, which is listening for the real clues as what the student is saying, and if the coach session, or the client is saying in a real coaching session.
Mm-hmm. And now moving forward, our students, we do encourage in their buddy groups and as they're practicing coaching to practice by phone, practice with their buddies by phone. Maybe they want to try practicing with Zoom to experience that. I mean, there are many ways that people may choose to establish their own coaching practice. I don't know the exact statistic, but I know most coaches do coach by phone because it's, convenient, and there is a sense of anonymity for the client and the coach. But as our clients are launching into their own practice, we do want them to practice in many different ways. And whether they decide to coach by phone in their own practice or using video or even in person, like real life, that's a thing. They're really, they can do that if they want. Our students can do whatever they see their clients are going to want or how they're going to want to build their practice.
And of course, in class, we have a buddy system. So you have regular calls with your buddy. And sometimes those students decide they're going to give the Zoom thing a try to see how it works. And so we'll ask them in class, so, how'd that Zoom thing work for you? And the first thing you get is a bunch of nervous giggles because they realize that the Zoom distracted them more than it helped them.
Yeah.
It's part of who we are.
Yep.
And the other thing to think about is, listening to people. I always ask my students as the class starts, when's the last time you felt really deeply listened to?
Mm-hmm.
And most of them can't tell me. It's been so long. In a coaching session, you really get listened to and you feel heard. And that's important for our clients and our students.
It really is. Yeah, we've talked about, the dying art of listening, and people just not listening as much in the world we live in today. And this gives people an opportunity to really hone that skill. I hear over and over and again from students and graduates that learning to coach and learning to coach in this particular format has helped them listen to everyone in their lives much differently.
Yeah, it changed the way you interact with people around you when you learn to listen differently and listen to understand someone versus trying to listen to respond to them. Mm-hmm. People want and need to be heard and understood.
Hey, Dave, it was so fun to chat with you today. We're going to have to do it again. I'm glad we had a chance to put this together. I love your wisdom. I know you've taught so many certified coach programs. So to hear your experiences with coaching by phone versus video has been great. So thanks for joining me today.
I'm glad I could be here. It's great. Like I say, great seeing you again.
Yeah, great seeing you too. Take care.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.